He's streaming again, he's not working on YouTube videos, what's his problem? Well, there is no problem. So, anyways, yes, I am actually working on some new YouTube videos, specifically videos about tinkering over in the project area that we shall be getting to work on this weekend. Get the old people pills out of the way, whatever. So, anyways, what is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay, and I wanted to deliver on one of the things that I wanted to do with these streams, is have them occupy a niche separate from what my videos usually occupy, even when it comes to talking about things like technology. I'm thinking a lot about what I'm going to do with the computers next because of the current dumpster fire of a PC gaming parts market out there right now. Yet another one. And as I started thinking about what it is that I was doing, I started thinking there's this one thing that I want to talk about. If I try and make the video, I'm going to spend way too long just pointing the camera at a computer talking about this. This needs to go into a stream. And these kinds of tangents that would normally derail and ruin the show flow of videos is one of the things that I need to do streams about. So let's talk about that. So one of the things I'm doing for 2021, this will upset some people I know who want to see more Delosaurus stuff, is I am backing off on all the Delosaurus stuff. Delosaurus Rex, yeah, it was cool. We got that working. But I am actually going to back out on the progress I made with Delosaurus Rex. I may relegate it to just integrated graphics and use it to record footage and make it a second PC for zero resource stream recording and stuff like that. Matter of fact, while we're on this topic here, why don't we actually go to properties? Not yet, no. Let's go to the noise filters and stuff like that. Let's actually experiment with a different noise filter for this discussion. We're on Speaks right now. Let's change it over to RN noise, higher quality. So right now the CPU usage is about 5%. Check, 1, 2. The noise suppression is now higher. How come the compressor is turned off? It should be on. Okay, now it's on. Yeah, now it's on. Apparently, somewhere along the line, the compressor got turned off. That's not what I'm looking for. So, anyways, this is for the Yeti Nano microphone and for compressing the audio and things like that. So now we have higher end. I'm going to unmute the preview. Anyways, this is for the Yeti Nano microphone and for compressing the audio and things like that. So now we have higher end. I'm going to unmute. I don't know. I think I'm going to have to listen to it through the sound system. But we are still going out at a reasonably decent level here. So I want this to sound as much like the radio as possible, given it's a streaming setup and things along those lines. They don't call it broadcasting for nothing. So with the current complete disaster of a PC hardware industry out there, I'm changing what I do with my own systems as well. Tuxedo is going to re-enter the spotlight in terms of the experimental system that I'm persistently experimenting with in terms of seeing how far the AMD FX processors can delve into the world of 4K or whatever. So the Delosauruses are going onto the back burner. One of the things I want to do is probably take the Ivy Bridge, go back to integrated graphics, see whether the original power supply or the upgraded power supply gives the best results for wattage, and record footage with it for zero resource capture of HDMI. One of the things I picked up last year was an Elgato box, which allows for HDMI pass-through. So I could shunt that in between the computer and the TV and actually use, if I want to have a second system for streaming or have it not step on the toes of Monolith when rendering a big, powerful game, I will have that option available, although I never really needed it up to this point, not even for ESO. And I crank up the settings in ESO as well. But if I think maybe I should try for a higher quality stream by offloading the processing of the video files or recording or anything of that sort over to a second computer, then why not? Plus, my setup has traditionally been Monolith with something on top of it, so why not continue that in some way, shape, or form with one of those Delosauruses, which are really light when there's no graphics card in them. Set that up as like a DVR or something. So Monolith can stream directly, of course, and it can run everything directly with its 4.8 processor in there. But I really don't know. I don't know, might experiment with using the Delosauruses kind of as a way to record with this stuff. Plus, I want to set them up for video capture, so I can move the Elgato box around and hook it up for things like capturing consoles or capturing other PCs. Or, here's a wild idea, the turd Shiba without having to go camcorder Let's Play mode. Or if I buy an APU laptop and I don't want to put any kind of overhead on it for making a YouTube video, just if it's HDMI, I can capture it. So yeah, we're going back to Tuxedo as the main system that I'll be experimenting with in the project area. Gotta get that computer up and running again. It has practically a mint motherboard. It's just that it has an old AMD FX processor in it. So we have to, I definitely want to do that. But the big reason why I want to back away from the Delosaurus project is because I have the 1060, which is the former and the secondary graphics card in case something happens to this 2060 in the midst of this mess. I have that jammed into an Optiplex right now, and I don't want to run the risk of losing my 1060 because it gets bent or something like that, or it's bent for too long, or it's just the wear and tear from not being in a properly sized case that is possible. So we're going to back out of the Delosaurus Rex project, take that 1060, put it in Tuxedo, which has plenty of space, and use Tuxedo as the experimental gaming system with secondhand parts, because I think that is what'll be the most relevant to PC gamers right now, because quite frankly, PC gaming is a total disaster. Now, we're going to fire up some music and let's actually ponder, what if this got so bad that it killed the GPU industry? It's a crazy idea, but remember, GPUs first surfaced in the 1990s when the need existed for a dedicated graphics processor because the CPUs couldn't do it all by itself. But if these graphics card problems persist for long enough, and if the march of technology persists for long enough, I can very easily see these persistent graphics card shortages either severely cutting down or destroying the GPU as we know it. Let's fire up some of that nice Streambeats synthwave, and let's begin a nice little discussion here. Even if it's a little redundant. Streambeats synthwave, check out streambeats.com for more of this stuff. Now, let me just read something out of an article that I'm not going to show on screen, and close the ad here. And let me know if any of this sounds familiar to you. Both HP and Dell, as well as many peers, continue seeing strong notebook demand fueled by remote work and learning activity. This growth is helping offset desktop weakness caused by lower corporate demand. Sounds pretty relevant, doesn't it? You know, we've got the pandemic going on. The pandemic has caused, lockdowns and people to invest in home setups for working at home or streaming or something like that. There's all kinds of stuff that's selling now because of this mess that wasn't selling as much before. So it makes all the sense in the world, right? And the corporate world is moving away from desktops towards more nettops, computers as appliances. You don't need much power to run Excel and do basic office tasks. Matter of fact, basic office and school tasks are essentially the profile of a low-end PC that you buy a bunch of and set up in like a school somewhere or something. Makes all the sense in the world, right? This totally sounds like a news article that could be talking about the pandemic and everything that's going on. Yeah. Strong notebook demand fueled by remote work and learning activity, except this isn't. And I might as well mute the tab. Better mute this thing before it plays an ad. I've got this open in my regular browser here, so I keep getting ads all over the place popping up. This is from thestreet.com. PC parts shortages are an issue again. Just ask HP and Dell. Date: November 25, 2020. Oh, wait, this is the one I was looking at earlier. Oh, okay. I've just gotten owned by a search engine. I was looking for 2012 PC parts shortages. So yeah, well, that certainly fell flat on its face. But anyways, let me actually do some reading here. I'm looking for articles about previous PC parts shortages because if you really take a look, one of the things that you see, why is there an eBay thing in my yeah, okay, we don't want that. I'm actually looking for, let's see, 2011 PC parts shortages. So Google kind of shortchanged me on that. So PC part shortage is an issue again. I'm looking for stuff from 2012 though. Yeah. Auto part shortage. So yeah. You go back far enough and you get to the Thailand floods. One of the reasons why I got into SSDs is because the price of hard drives was sky high at the time. And I was like, oh, I hope my hard drive doesn't conk out, because I'd had persistent problems with hard drives that barely made it out of their warranty period before they conked out. So here I was like, oh, I hope the hard drives in my system don't conk out. And I pay a supremely overpriced price for a new hard drive. Wait a minute. If I'm going to pay a supremely overpriced price for a new hard drive, why not just buy an SSD? So I did. That was 10 years ago in 2011. That was my first serial ATA SSD. Like $270 for 160 gigs. Because most of the common sizes being sold were 120 gigs, so I wanted to be a little bit better than what was dominating the market. So 10 years ago in 2011, I purchased my first SSD serial ATA, and now in 2021, I've purchased my first M2. And I finally upgraded to M2 after all these years. So, and it's crazy that the same $200-something will get you 2 terabytes SSDs as opposed to 160 gigs. It's just crazy. But it seems like between the crypto mining nonsense, the Thailand floods, various times CPUs have come up short, RAM prices being up and down, can the PC hardware industry go more than a year or two or whatever without having some kind of ridiculous shortage like this? What do you think this does to PC gaming? You've got nerds like me out there that are saying, yeah, get into PC gaming. It's way better than console. And now, except you can't find the parts. A GTX 1050 Ti costs you $300. Ridiculous. I actually paid, I believe I paid a little less for my RTX 2060. That is how disgusting this situation is. What bought me and here's the fun part. I bought my 2060 because I got sick of waiting for the 3060 to be released. I was like, yeah, I'm buying the old card. Whoop-de-doo. I may be wasting money by doing this, and now look what's happened. So I normally don't believe in incremental purchasing, but I wanted something better than the 1060 I was using, but the 3060 wasn't out yet. None of the 30s were anywhere to be found. I thought they'd be overpriced for the first chunk of their existence. Boy, was I right. Right. Oh yeah, and here we are. So my screwball lazy approach or something I normally would not support has paid off because of this part shortage. 1050 Ti versus 2060, regular 2060. User benchmark. Boom. Matter of fact, why don't we just load that up in Microsoft Edge? It's our browser of choice for one-off visits to web pages and the like. Yeah, and I have it set to auto-clear every single time. So, Invest Kids St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Okay, we have ads on that one. All right, no, we don't want that. So let's see here. Avast Secure. Why is the bookmarks bar showing up when I've got a page loaded? It should only show up when I open a new tab. Yes, that's not working right. All right. So let's take a look at this here. Web browser, please. Avast Secure. Where is that? Browser. Link up the Avast Secure. So here's the kind of difference we're talking about, and these prices are wrong. You go poking around Newegg, you will see things be a lot worse than this. So, 126% performance difference for roughly the same amount of money because of this garbage that's going on right now. I was looking at Newegg earlier. 1050 Ti's for $300. Let's actually go to Newegg.com. Yeah, let's go to Newegg. Let's open up Microsoft Edge for that. Browser, please. So remember that difference here. 10% off for new subscribers. And so, okay. Let's do 1050 Ti. What are those going for? Remember, this is the card for no extra power. All right, there's a gigabyte low profile one for $179 if you want to buy a gigabyte low profile with a bracket. That one is available. It's a 4 gig card for $179. The only decently priced one there. There's a gigabyte one. Limited time offer. Oh, $100. Oh, no. These are 3PLs, and there's $100 in shipping. It's $100 to ship it. Where is it shipping this thing from? Ships from China. Most customers receive within 5 to 23 days. Sold and shipped by Millennials Boy. Yeah, get the 3PLs out. Newegg only, please. Seriously. All these companies trying to be like Amazon. It's insane. All right. Newegg, the only one in stock, 1050 Ti, gigabyte, GeForce, $189. So what was a $300 card that I was looking at earlier? I think I was looking at maybe, yeah, there's a 1050 Ti from MSI for $300. This must be, yeah, it must. So if you don't buy from the right spot, you may end up with, you know, $300 1050 Ti. Holy crap. How about it? I think it might have been a 1650 I was looking at. 1650 Asus TUF Gaming GeForce GTX 1650, $270. 1650, da-da-da-da. So yeah, the Asus Phoenix GTX 1650 4 gig card, $360. But at least it has free shipping. Ships from China. Most customers receive within 5 to 23 days. So yeah, open up a line of communication straight to the darn factories for crying out loud. Ships from China. There is nothing on here. I limit 1 per customer. Ships from China. This is for a GTX 1650. If you want to get a 2060, man, I paid like 300 something, I believe, for mine. $629, $605, $600, $1,500. Get the gougers out of here. Show me only the ones that Newegg sells themselves. No 3PLs, please. Both of them are out of stock. This is the old card. 2070, Newegg only. 2070, $1,500. Seller Newegg cuts everything down to 8. Oh, look, I'm not getting... All right, out of stock, out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. If I could get one that's in stock, I'd pay $370 for a 2070. That would be decent if I could actually get it. So, I mean, this is a complete and total supply chain failure. How do you not sell? I mean, you can buy... If I really wanted to, I could spend over $1,000 on a pre-built gaming PC. Core i7 9th Gen 9700F. And yoink the graphics card out. So you can get a graphics card, you can get a 2070 if it's part of a gaming PC. So that's the kind of ridiculous thing we've got going on here. So, all right, let's close this out. This is all part of just the ridiculous situation we find ourselves in. So before it was crypto mining, and now what? What is this crap? What I think it is, it's a warning sign that we could be looking at the death of the graphics card if these companies don't shape up. Because what are those 2 magic words in technology that do a lot that people don't give enough credit for? Good enough. When Blu-ray was overpriced earlier in its life cycle, people were buying DVDs and upscaling them because the picture and sound was good enough. In today's day and age, streaming, even if Blu-ray has an advantage over streaming, people will stream movies instead of buying physical media because it's good enough. Those magical 2 words that always seem to pop up whenever the mainstream adopts a form of technology that previously only enthusiasts will still go above and beyond. But when the mainstream adopts a lower level of technology and makes it more popular than the good stuff, that is the power of good enough. That's why DVDs are still a thing. Despite streaming giving you higher quality than DVDs. As well as other things like, for example, artificial content restrictions, not licensing certain things to be streamed, so people are forced to still buy physical media and things like that, little stunts that, you know, rights holders pull in order to sell movies and things like that, that sort of thing. So, that's still a thing. But look, AMD APUs. What's the latest on AMD's APUs? Show me some news. I know we've got, the latest one was what, the 3040 or whatever it was. What's the latest Ryzen? Because here's what we're looking at here. So right now, if you talk about people, the mainstream demographics adopting technology, the magic words are good enough. What is good enough? 1080p gaming. You can practically sneeze and build a computer and have a computer run a game in 1080 with everything maxed out. The new struggle is getting 4K going, and not only that, but higher refresh rates on TVs that are dirt cheap now for 4K 120. So you can go from 1080 60 TV like this thing that I have that I'm running into the ground to 4K 120. So the good enough, the DVD if you will, is 1080p gaming, and if you can upscale it, and these graphics card manufacturers are having these complete and total supply chain failures every couple of years, why wouldn't you consider just having an APU system? When APUs got to the point where they could play 1080-60 with the integrated graphics. The latest one is the Ryzen 5 3400G, which is getting a little bit old at this point. But what is this? I just wonder, what is the successor? 3400G. I wonder if the Testing Games channel on YouTube has some. Let me just load that up. Fire up Firefox, because that's what I run YouTube in when I'm on the stream log on here. Let's go to Testing Games. Go to the Testing Games channel, and let's look at the Ryzen 5 3400G. What can that sucker do? Ryzen 5 3400G. When that processor became a thing. 5 months ago, Ryzen 3 4300G versus Ryzen 5 3400G. Integrated GPU test.
Trick on how to save.
Yeah, Capital One shopping. Hello. I'm just wondering if that's the competitor to Honey. I just wonder if that's the competitor to Honey and stuff like that. So, okay, Red Dead Redemption 2. What am I looking at? I gotta see what the settings are for this. We're gonna post this video over to Twitter. Let's just randomly link. Let's see if I can get people on Twitter to think that I'm completely and totally nuts. Yeah. Let's have some fun. Some good old-fashioned nerd fun. Yeah. Perhaps with these parts shortages. The death of the GPU is nigh. Thinking emoji. Paste. Yeah, as soon as you go. Well, he's streaming again, isn't he? Yes, I am. Link to the video has just gone to my Twitter over at twitter.com/MultimediaJay. I'm running this with no sound. Red Dead Redemption 2. It's the Ryzen 3 4300 Golf. Saying the phonetic thing. 4300G versus the Ryzen 5 3400G. So the 4300G, what is that? Why can't I see what it is? Let me just back it up here. 5 seconds. Oh, now I'm back to the ad. Red Dead Redemption 2. That's at 1080p, isn't it? I keep missing it. Etc., etc. Let me read the description of this thing. Yeah, it's 1080p gaming. So, see here. Where's my FPS? Stop. Lows and 1% lows. Where's my... okay, average. 90 FPS. Probably... See, there is a way to get 1080-60 on an APU right now. You probably have to just drop some settings down. But if that's what you have to do, because these companies can't run a freaking supply chain, what are the differences between these processors? Hold on a second. Let me just go back over. We're done with Twitter for now. 3400G versus 4300G. So how close are we to this? Because here's what I'm imagining. APUs get to the point, let's see here. Hardware bench, user benchmark. So, okay. Oh, it's doing the FX 4300. No. Ryzen 3. Misspelling Ryzen. Ryzen 3 4300. Oh, it's the 4300U. That's a laptop processor. Oh, so it plays ball. So the Ryzen 5 3400G plays ball with the laptop processor that's out there right now. More useful. Can I get a... How about a... No, that's cpu.userbenchmark.com. Let's change that over to gpu.userbenchmark.com and see if user benchmark compares the APUs for their integrated graphics performance. It keeps bouncing me back over to CPU. Fine then, back to testing games it is. So, let's see, there is a way though to play on an APU. 4300G? Well, where? Ryzen 3 4300G. Is that out? Yeah, $163. It's OEMs only. It's a 4.8. Okay. Interesting. So, I'm getting a CPU benchmark with Radeon Graphics desktop socket AM4 65-watt processor. Interesting. 65-watt processor came out in Q2 of last year. Interesting. So, was there another 4000 series Ryzen? There's Newegg. Okay, Google Ad Services. Ships from Hong Kong. Most customers receive within 5 to 17 days. So, that's the Ryzen 3 3200G. But let's do Ryzen 4000 series. So, let's see here. Is it in there, or is that just AMD? Is that APUs only? How about we just restrict it just to graphics? Integrated graphics. AMD. What's available on there? 3400G. So yeah, the 3400G. Then you got the Bristol Ridge and stuff. Yeah, I gotta follow my APUs a bit more than this. So the one you'd get is from Newegg is the 3400G. Is the 4300 available on Amazon, or is that an OEM thing only? Let's do Ryzen 4300G. No, you only get the 34. Okay. I'm just curious, what is this processor then? 4300G. Just give me some Google stuff for that. AMD. OEMs only. Ah. So you have to buy a computer with this processor in order to get this processor. Okay, so you'd have to buy a gaming PC. Is there... So how much do those cost, I wonder? But that's the thing, though. See, similar performance? What do they have? Just had the average FPS on here. Let's see, Red Dead Redemption. Yeah, similar performance, basically, 93 FPS. So it's possible. Let me put this up to HD, see what it looks like at 1080-60. Hope it doesn't conk out my stream. Yeah, like what, PS3, PS4 console levels and whatnot. Is this at medium settings? Let's see. Back to the settings. Yeah, lows and mediums and things like that. That's usually what APUs are tuned for, is to run without a graphics card at medium settings. But the bottom line is you can play something. It just won't look very well. It won't look very good. You just put in a discrete graphics card later and just get some fast RAM or something for the APU to use as video memory. Interesting. Yeah, 90 FPS. How about a Horizon Zero Dawn? Medium settings-ish. What are they able to get? Yeah, they're able to get 90 FPS. Battlefield 5? Oh, look, an ad. Well, we'll support the creator. Of course. So, here, and let's fire that up. So that was Horizon Zero Dawn. Bounce ahead to Battlefield 5. Oh, you can run Ultra on this one. Nice. Yeah, 122 FPS. That's with a 3400G. PUBG, of course, that's an esports game. It should run really well. Resident Evil 3 can get 42 FPS. That'd be a 1080-30 game. So you would run into some issues. What's this? 30 FPS? That's what? This is Horizon Zero Dawn. GTA 5. You can get it to 60 FPS with integrated graphics alone. Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. 38 FPS, so console, basically. So, okay, here's the thing, though. I can imagine AMD not wanting to make the APUs all that powerful so they don't cannibalize the Radeon graphics cards. But if people want a game on PC, and graphics cards are persistently being used for mining and stuff like that, then why wouldn't you consider a more powerful APU to serve as a baseline for 1080p gaming? So think about it this way. Graphics cards are relegated to... Well, here's how it works. Right now, it's really easy. You can make a Delosaurus with a blah graphics card that will play 1080-60 and get you into the game at 1080p. 1080p is kind of the good enough resolution that's pretty much established at this point. It's the DVD of PC gaming. And then what you're pushing for is 4K. So when you get that nice 4K TV, you can see everything in native resolution and not have to upscale anything. But let's suppose there's a part shortage. You just play upscaled for a while until the shortage resolves itself, and you still get to game on a PC. So this is what I'm looking for from AMD, and if Intel has a rival product, but Intel's got to get stuff together with other stuff. So here's what I'm looking at here. Imagine if there's a Ryzen APU that does 1080-60, you can max everything out. So you can get all the 1080p gaming you want without needing a graphics card. And you only start getting graphics cards involved when you're moving up to 4K. So, what kind of a situation does that create? It creates a situation where you can always PC game. The difference is whether you use the upscaler on your 4K TV or not. Because don't forget, consoles ran at 720 for the longest time. And consoles have actually had a hard time getting to 1080, not until like PS4 Pro and stuff like that did we start getting, you know, potential for 1080-60 with boost mode or something. And of course you have the Xbox One X and whatnot, folks getting up to consoles getting up to the ability to do 4K 30 and 1080-60 via some kind of graphics mode switch that you can set on the console itself. So the entry-level PC gaming should be 1080-60. Now imagine if you can get that without needing a graphics card. Remember, graphics cards came into existence in the 90s because processors couldn't do it all themselves. Well, now there's processors with integrated graphics. And over on the mobile side of things, there's 3D graphics on smartphones and stuff. But there's smartphones that are being released with 1080p screens. So imagine if you could blow that up and put it on a big TV. Smartphone as a console, certainly something I've been curious about before. Bluetooth controller, smartphone as a console, some kind of connection to your TV as long as there's no latency. That's another good enough type situation here. It's kind of what Nintendo was pointing at when they released the Switch. This idea of a mobile device that can also go onto your TV at home and perform better when it's on AC power. It's also the sort of thing you got to think about with the gaming laptops that are out there. Or even the newest Ryzen laptops. And see what their integrated graphics can do. What can those integrated graphics do? What's the latest Ryzen U series processor? 5000U gaming. Let's see what that is. 5000U gaming. Testing games YouTube. Live benchmarking on YouTube by eTechnics. The Ryzen 5, etc. No, I'm looking for the laptop processor. Crushing gaming, etc., etc. Ryzen 5 4500U gaming benchmark. There it is. What's this? Ryzen 5 4500. This is from a company called, or this is from a platform called Hubwood. 3D Mark. Give me a break. Show me Forza. 1080p lowest settings can get up to 40 FPS. So that's a laptop. These are made for, yeah, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, 720 lowest. Okay, this isn't interesting. But imagine if AMD decided, you know what? PC gamers have so many problems with part shortages every couple of years. Why don't we just make an APU that can do 1080-60 and leave the graphics card to 4K? You know, and what kind of 4K performance you can get. I mean, we're at a point right now where, you know, 1080p televisions are basically being phased out. The price on a 4K panel has dropped down enough that you might as well just get the 4K, and the 4K is going to be 4K 120. Being able to do 4K at 120 frames a second is what you're going to push for with your hardware now, not 1080p. So you can sneeze and get 1080-60 or whatever. So Imagine if AMD got serious with this kind of model, and there was a Ryzen APU that did all the 1080p gaming you wanted, and you bought the graphics cards to not have to use your upscaler on your 4K television. Or your monitor or whatever. Something very seriously to think about. Back again to the point about the 90s. I mean, early 90s gaming in the DOS days and early Windows 95, you didn't have a graphics processor. Your CPU was doing that work. But the point of the graphics cards was to offload the graphics processing onto something so it wouldn't tie up CPU resources. Well, now you've got integrated graphics in processors and APUs with integrated graphics that are supposed to allow for you to game at medium settings, going all the way back to the AMD Kaveri, if anybody remembers that processor. So you go all the way back to the AMD Kaveri, and, you know, you go all the way back, and that's been the objective of the APUs, is to allow for gaming at medium settings without a graphics card. What if AMD got more aggressive? What if AMD upped the ante a little, and instead of going for medium settings, APUs were designed so that you can play in 1080p with the latest games, 1080 60, and then buy a graphics card to move up to 4K and turn off the upscaler on your television? Do we really need GPUs if GPU manufacturers are going to persistently have problems like this? You know? What's the point? Seems like nearly every year it's going to be graphics cards, processors, RAM. It just seems like there's a supply chain failure every other year now. When was the crypto mining disaster? Feels like it wasn't that long ago, but it probably was, because time, you know, time goes by and we often don't know it. Crypto mining 2019, not that, GPU prices. Well, when was that? Mid to late 2000s? Crypto mining boom. Okay. GPU prices stabilizing after crypto mining boom. This is from October of 2018. So 2 years ago, going on 3 years ago. It's just a generation, like every other generation, there is some kind of nonsense that makes it so that whatever that $300-something graphics card was, or the $500-something graphics card was that you wanted, you can't actually get at that price. Why does it have to be this way? That's the thing. These aren't little bitty companies that don't know what they're doing. They're large tech producers and whatnot. Why the supply chain failures? At this point, I really don't care. I just want to know what other options are available if we're going to keep having graphics card prices go through the roof every other year. I don't care if it's tariffs. I don't care if it's the old Trump trade war. I don't care what the issue is. Bottom line is people want to play video games. And when they can't even get the high-end consoles now because of this nonsense, it's got to stop. This is one of those situations where the market is just waiting for an alternative product that snubs all of these failed supply chains. And I think that product is the APU. AMD upping the ante and going from, oh yeah, you can run games at medium settings, to all the 1080p you want. There actually was a Radeon RX card, forgot what it was. It was supposed to be dubbed as the Ultimate 1080 card. I don't think AMD should be doing that. Instead of the Ultimate 1080 card, it should be the Ultimate 1080 processor. Start at 1080p, and your investment in a graphics card and discrete graphics gets you somewhere into the world of 4K, whether it's 4K 30, 4K 60, 4K 120. Oh, but that will cannibalize all these graphics cards. Yeah, but it'll give you a baseline, basically. You know, the graphics cards that can't handle 4K 30 or 60 are probably not what you want to buy anyways. So why not? Why not beef up graphics, laptops, portables? And by the way, if PCs drag their feet, then we're basically waiting for phones and tablets to eat up this segment of the market. Or how about, say, the next Nintendo Switch or something like that? So if it's gonna be something that does this. So I say at this point, think about it. I mean, graphics cards only came into existence because they had to. If they don't have to exist anymore, why should they stick around? Very, very serious things to think about. So this is the tangent that would have otherwise been in the video I want to make as I set things up with what to do next with these computers, get Tuxedo back into the arena, so to speak, and then figure out what to do with these Delosauruses in terms of I think it'll be the Ivy Bridge one that I make into the recorder box, so I can do no resource recording of gaming footage or what have you. Or maybe even no resource streaming. Of course, I have to figure out what to do about, well, maybe have like one display, drive one display for the game and a second display for OBS. Then figure out the peripherals. We'll figure that out in the videos. Stay tuned for videos now that we've gotten the what could have been the #1 tangent that derailed the living daylights out of my next video out of the way via just streaming about it instead. What a fun rant, too. I mean, come on now. PC gaming? Why does PC gaming have to have all these problems every few years? DRM, part shortages, bad PC ports. Why does it have to be this way? Seriously? AMD. Take the APU to the next level. No more medium settings. Make it so APUs can do 1080-60. And you buy graphics cards to advance from there. This is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.